All right, welcome in. It is episode 75 of the Three Guys Talking Ball podcast. We've got Aaron Rodgers is a Jet. The Twins are in a big series, 11-game homestand. We got the NBA playoffs underway, and I am back from Mexico. It's just Ethan and I because Grant and I just swapped. He is currently in Mexico, so it's just Ethan and I holding down the fort today, the two best-looking guys in the podcast. So
Really,
we got the pride of Wilmer and the pride of Dickinson. What's that?
Really, the only two that hold it together.
This is true.
No offense.
This is true. Yeah. But yeah, I'm back from Mexico. It was a good trip. I haven't even told you guys about the I wanted to save it for the episode, but
did you almost get abducted?
No, not even close.
That's good.
No, I didn't leave the resort. What I did was I hung out at the pool bar, hung out at the beach, hung out on the balcony of my hotel room, and that was about it. So it was a pretty relaxing vacation, the way they should be.
Doesn't sound terrible.
No, it was great. The flights were interesting. So, you know what I texted you? That the over under on how many people will stand up once the plane lands.
Yes,
that first flight. That was the best behaved flight as far as that goes. So,
wow.
Yep, get into Dallas and go. I had to go like one terminal over, not a huge thing, and I had like probably about an hour and a half. Had my first Whataburger experience.
It's decent. It's not fantastic, but it's decent.
It's decent. Put a lot of mustard on the burgers. That was I don't know if that's for everyone, but I was surprised by that one, and it was good. It wasn't the best burger. I would take In-N-Out over Whataburger, but go and then start boarding and get on the plane, and as soon as we get up in the air, these people behind me start clapping.
No, geez.
Why, I don't know. And then as we land, of course they clap. Because why would they? Wouldn't they? And then as soon as we get to the terminal, everybody like I said, like 8 people. There was this was a pretty big flight too. There was probably about probably half of the flight that just decided they were going to stand up. It's like, what are you standing up for? Where are you going? You're not going anywhere. You can't sit down. And then the guy behind me he gets on the phone and he's talking to somebody and he's like, you don't have your passport? Are you kidding me? Are you serious right now? Oh yeah, I think I love. He didn't have his passport on his. It fell out of his. Must have fell out of his bag, pocket, or whatever in between his connecting flight. So it was on his connecting flight or something, and they had to. I don't know what happened to him. I don't know if they got into the country or not, or what the situation was. But
can you imagine that? Oh my God.
But when you clap when the plane gets into the air, you clap when the plane lands, and you stand up. There's some type of poetic justice to that.
Yeah.
And then on the way there, or from Cancun to Dallas, nobody claps, but I was sitting next to this couple, and they had Kitty. I couldn't have been more than a year and a half old, and he was restless. He was kicking. He was pounding the seat in the guy on the in front of him. He was opening and shutting the window. He thought that was the coolest thing ever. And
how old is this guy?
This kid, he was little. He was sitting. He just had to sit on his parents' lap.
Okay, so he's just a little guy. Okay.
Yeah, and you feel bad for. I felt bad for the kid. Felt bad for the parents because kid can't get up and walk around or run anywhere. Right. And then as soon as the plane lands, he decides to fall asleep.
Of course.
Yeah, but that also, it was ridiculous the amount of people that just stood up and then they waited. And I look back, I'm pretty sure there wasn't an empty seat behind me. They were all standing there waiting. You guys ain't going before me.
Right.
And then there's one dude behind me. As soon as we get off the terminal, he's like sprinting around me, like trying to get through. And then I somehow pass him and get up. And all of a sudden there's just a huge line trying to get into customs.
Ugh.
And luckily it was like I got in like 2.5 hours before my next flight. But I probably spent an hour and a half in the customs line just waiting to get through. And I didn't have anything, but you have to go through there to get back into your. So I had like an hour, and by the time I get there, they're already boarding and get in. And then this couple in front of me, and they had 2 young kids too, and they are just airing out their dirty laundry, like about the entire trip. She was like dropping F-bombs, swearing at him, calling him a pile of shit, like all this.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like,
very fun. Right before vacation, right on vacation.
As they're going home. And I'm like, going home. Yeah. And like, it was like a full-fledged like fight with each other. And I'm like, do you guys, and they had 2 kids that are probably like 4 and like 1 too. So it's like, you're swearing in front, like, geez. And then also, like, there were, like, 4 or 5 people, and this was a pretty small flight. And so, like, it was so small, like, the overhead bins, they wouldn't fit, like, a carry-on suitcase.
Yeah.
So, like, we had to put everything everything went underneath. And there were, like, 4 or 5 people that sprinted straight to the front of the plane to try to get out. It's like, can't go anywhere.
Right, yeah,
just wait. And you're waiting for your luggage too. And that took like a half hour to get, like after like all the regular check bags too. Yeah. So it was like everything they got was deserved. I got back at like 11 or so and went to work the next day. It was fine. Terrible. But the trip was fun. I met a handful of people from Ohio. Had some fun conversations with them. Ohio. There was this. Yeah.
Were they Ohio State fans?
So one of them was not actually. There was one guy I met the first night. He was at the sports bar that they have at the resort, and the Cavs Knicks game was on, and he was watching. He came and just sat next to me, and we just kind of started talking. And I was like, "Oh, so you're a Cavs fan?" And he goes, "Yeah." He's like, "I'm like, oh, okay. So you're probably Ohio State fan too?" "No, I'm a Michigan fan." Turns out his mom his Sunday school teacher was Bo Schembechler's mom.
Holy shit.
Yeah. And then so our last day in the pool, we run into him and they're like, and we were hanging out with his group because a couple of other guys I met that were from Ohio. They were like huge. They were from like the Cincinnati area. Okay. No, they were Columbus. They were from Columbus. Huge Bengals fans. And
okay. Grant's best friends.
Yep, definitely. And they all like the Ohioans. They kind of like they're all just kind of a cult, and they're like, "Oh yeah, OH," and I'd go NO, and then they're like, "Well, one of them is a Michigan fan," and I remember the guy's name. And I go, "Oh, Lance," and they're like, "Yeah," and then sure enough, he comes over and we give each other 5. Like, how's it going, man?
And, that's fantastic.
And then there was another dude. He had a Guardians hat on. They are not fans. They get very, very upset if you refer to them as the Guardians. They almost quit being fans, which it is that they're like.
I would have walked out. I would have walked out.
They said that when they'll go to a few games, like 4 or 5 games every year, and they say they can count on one hand the amount of people who actually have Guardians gear on.
Oh yeah, it's all Indian stuff still. Let's be real.
Yeah.
No one gives a shit.
And he was I shouldn't say buying shots. You could technically say that, but because it's all inclusive for like the entire pool. And
wow, nice guy.
They were blue shots, and I was like, I got 4,523 reasons to go blue.
Was it UV blue?
I have no idea. Probably. And he goes, okay, can't do any more blue shots. I was like, oh, why not? But
brutal.
Yeah. Did you get to watch any of the Gopher spring game at all?
I watched a little bit here and there. Defense left some to be desired, which is fine. It's spring practice, whatever. Totally different offense, so don't mind the person getting shot outside right now. But totally different offense. I mean, they're going to sling it. It's simple as that. They have their wide receivers now, which is kind of crazy to think that's their best skill position outside. It's not even close to the running back anymore. Like Elijah Spencer, the transfer from Charlotte, dude is going to be a dude, probably the best receiver we've had since Bateman. Corey Crooms, wide receiver slot out of I want to say he transferred from Western Michigan, but he's probably going to be our best.
Is that the Ohio State coach's son?
I don't know. I don't know. That's interesting.
It was the old D coordinator before Knowles.
Okay, maybe. It could be. But then I don't know. You still have Daniel Jackson Brockington, who scored that long touchdown versus Wisconsin to win it. He had like 8 catches for 192 yards and 2 touchdowns in the spring game. So, I mean, take it with a grain of salt. It's obviously the spring game. Like, it's not the same. But, no, I'm looking forward to it. I think they could have a pretty explosive offense.
Yeah, I think it's – yeah, they had theirs April 1 already. So, there's they always do theirs early because they always really have it on – they have it – because April 1 is Bo Schembechler's birthday, so they try to have it around that time.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's why they have it then. But NDSU had theirs on Saturday. It was more so just kind of a practice. They did some live drills. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see much of Cole Payton. Kind of a wasted spring for him. He got I can't remember. He had a thumb injury. I don't remember if it was a broken or a sprain, but would have been nice to see him. Would have been good for his development as a passer, someone that could push Miller or make him a little bit uneasy, kind of they thought.
He had FBS offers, did he not, coming out of high school, Cole Payton?
He had Nebraska offered late, I know.
Okay.
But I think he had a few, and but Cam I thought looked good. He hit a couple of nice anticipatory throws.
That's a hard word. It really is.
It is. And it looked, the receivers, they look like they're coming along. Bryce Lance, Trey's younger brother, had a touchdown in it. Eli Green, I think, is a name to keep an eye on in the receiver room. I know we talked about Zach Mathis being the guy as far as like the number one. And
get a West?
No, that's Mekhi Collins. He's another one. He didn't get a whole lot. We didn't see a whole lot of him. It like I said, it wasn't a whole game, so they didn't do a lot of like drills. Right. But just following like the Fargo media guys who've gone to a couple of their spring practices that weren't considered the spring game, they said he kind of jumps off the screen. Eli Green had a touchdown in the national title game. He looked really good. He kind of looked that Cam was Cam's favorite target on Saturday. We'll see what happens with the tight end position, but I think there's going to be more question marks going into the year, but also an opportunity for these guys to come along and develop. We'll see if they're able to add any more guys in the transfer portal. I think the running back room, they're going to miss Kobe Johnson more than they're going to care to admit. He just had that explosive burst. I wish he would have came back. I don't know. He hasn't even signed with a team yet. I'm probably going to end up regretting it, leaving. But
the portal.
But I think right now with Tamarick Williams looks like he's going to be the lead, the bell cow this year, and maybe he might be the guy they kind of lean on towards to kind of carry that load. And we'll see what happens if Cole Payton, once he gets healthy, I'm sure he'll be a factor in the run game. And then they also moved. They had Raja Nelson taking reps at running back. Okay,
he's an athlete. Yeah, Lakeville North.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Has Trey Lance's brother been doing anything or no?
Like I said, he had a touchdown in the spring game on Saturday. This is a big year for him. He's kind of in that fray of all those receivers, in that mix of receivers. The class below him I guess 2 years below him that they brought in they're very high on, or no, it is a year. Because, he's a redshirt sophomore. These guys are redshirt freshmen. But This is a big year for him. I think if he doesn't start seeing the field, I wouldn't be surprised if he leaves and goes to play somewhere else. But I mean, he had a he could have. He had a nice little curl route to go for a touchdown. What are you?
It's a mix for my whiskey.
Oh, gotcha.
It's
there
very
you
hard
go.
to open.
Okay.
Sorry, that was a little odd, but yeah,
we'll see. I think he's going to be in the mix. I think he's going to have a big summer to really establish himself. But that's the beauty of NDSU offseason programs. It does do wonders, and hopefully he can figure out a way to get on the field and contribute.
Looking forward to it. It'll be fun.
Yeah. Did you get to watch the Wolves game last night?
I watched, I think, maybe a little bit of the second quarter, but that's honestly about it. I haven't really followed that much. Watched more of the Wild game last night than anything. Watched the first two periods.
Oh, God, was that ugly.
Yeah, when I turned it off, it was 2-0, and then I just stopped watching. I didn't really get – I know then went 2-1, and then I don't know what happened after that. I fell asleep watching.
Yeah, and then the Stars scored again. Well, in the second period, because I think I watched pretty much all of the second period, where they had 3 breakaways and they came away with no goals.
Nothing. Yeah, nothing. At that point, after the second one, I'm like, they're not going to win. Like it's
just not their day.
Yeah, it's just whatever.
But yeah, and then the Wolves they blew it away they blew it away in regulation when they were up 12 with like 2.5 minutes to go, and I was just kind of away from the TV, and I went and I come back and it was a 1-point game, and they fouled Jokic where he he went 1 of 2 to tie it. I'm like, how did this happen? And I go back and I look. The Wolves shot like 4 threes. I don't know if they tried to get into the paint at all or anything, but I'm pretty sure you're with me on this, and I'm not a Wolves fan, so I don't have a dog in the fight, but get rid of Cat. He just whines about every call. He's afraid to go into the post and get dirty, and then he fouls out and cries every time like he's never done anything wrong. Get rid of him and start building around Anthony Edwards. That guy is the future of the NBA. He's slowly one of my what's that?
You can ask Grant. Like, talking about trading Cat, I've said for years, not maybe years, but for at least the last year, they should have traded him to the Phoenix Suns for Mikal Bridges. You see what he's doing now. He could have been a perfect 3, put McDaniels at the 4, keep Gobert. I mean, you have spacing, you have athleticism. Like, it's just, oh my, I want to get rid of Cat. I really do.
Well, and then the other part, when he fouled out, for some reason they don't have the 2-time defensive player of the year Gobert guarding Jokic. They have Towns on him. It's like, what do you expect? He's just going to reach. He's not going to move his feet. He's lazy on the defensive side of the ball. What do you expect? Like, I don't even blame Cat fouling out. That's all on coaching there. Like, you do not put a lazy defender on a 2-time MVP.
Yep, exactly. Yeah,
but like I said,
has his days. They never are going to win this series without McDaniels or Reed. So, like, people saying, like, telling him this is the Fork and Finch, like, shut the fuck up. Like, he doesn't even have a full roster. It'd be interesting to see how they would play if they had the full roster, because McDaniels should be first-team all-defensive team. Naz Reid was playing like a man possessed the last 3 weeks before he broke his wrist. So, a lot of what-ifs. They'd probably beat the Lakers, honestly, in the play-in game if they have both of those guys.
Well, I mean, just think about that, though, Ethan, too, is they had the Lakers on the ropes in Crypto Arena. Got to make sure you get that one right.
Oh, it's not
and then,
right?
Yeah, and they blow that. And if they win that game, they play Memphis, and Memphis is just bursting at the seams, falling apart.
Yeah,
they can beat Memphis, and they should have beat them last year, too.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just waiting for Ja to pull a freaking Gilbert Arenas and bring a gun into the locker room at this point. Like, it's only a matter of time.
Memphis is as talented as they are. They need some adults. They need like some veteran leadership, because I was listening to The Herd today, and he had Colin had Rick Buchert on, and he talked about, he's like, the coaches don't do anything. The players run the show. You can't do that in the NBA.
No.
Yeah, especially with a young team like that. The Warriors, I mean, that you could make an argument that that's more of a player-led team, but they have guys like Steph and Clay that have been around. Draymond's going to do Draymond things. But if Steph or Clay aren't there, you're not winning.
No.
But that's I think that's all we got for the NBA talk too. It's already getting my blood pressure up.
Well, let's talk some NFL draft. We have less than 48 hours.
Yeah, NFL draft is on. Well, it'll be today when we release this. So by the time this is recorded, who knows? The Wolves season's probably going to be over.
It will be over. The Wild season could be on the brink if they don't go down to Dallas and win.
I'm a little bit more positive on the Wild. I think they've actually proven they've played decently well. I mean, they had really good. Sure. They had good chances last night that just didn't go in.
The amount of open nets they missed last night was just insane.
And us elite hockey minds, you and I both are.
It's like we don't even watch hockey 24. And you can tell like they were the better team. Like they controlled the puck better. They held the zone. They had like how many open nets, the breakaways. Like Dallas, if they don't keep their defenders back in Game 5, like. It could get disgusting. Like their defenders got burned so many times last night.
Yeah, this series kind of reminds me a little bit of in 15 when they played the Blues and they won in 6. It kind of feels that way because if you remember in Game 5 or in Game 4 where they got blown off their home off the XL Energy Center. And then they come back, they go down to St. Louis, and I think St. Louis has like 35 shots and the Wild win, and the Wild had like 20 and they score 4 goals. That's what they need tomorrow night. But let's get back to
they won in 6. I think they won in 6.
They did, Yep. So I feel good about this. The Wild are winning this in 6, but let's shift over to the main portion of the podcast here. We got the NFL draft. It's one of the favorite weekends of the year. It's the NFL produces. It's going to be down in Kansas City. And I think they're outside. I think we'll just start right away. We'll go Panthers, number 1 pick. I got Bryce Young. He's the best quarterback in the draft. If he was 6'3", he'd be the unquestionable favorite. The Bears probably do not trade out of that number 1 pick, I don't think.
No.
But the Panthers, he is a point guard on a football field. He is so poised, so in control of everything. If Alabama does not have him, they probably go 7-5 or 8-4 last year. And I think the Panthers have their franchise quarterback for the next 15 years.
Yeah, unless this is like the best smokescreen of literally the entire life of the NFL. Like Bryce Young is going to be in Carolina. Adam Thielen's got his guy. They already have a good defense. I mean, they have a good couple horses at running back there. I shouldn't say horses, but a good trio there that they run back. I can't remember what they're. Do they still have? Who's the former Texas guy that ran for him last year?
I think so. I can't think of the guy's name.
Foreman.
Yeah, Dante
Foreman, and then they have one other guy that they had a really good tandem after they traded McCaffrey. So I think they're going to be good. I mean, they easily, if Bryce Young plays even semi-solid, they have a chance to win the AFC South or NFC South.
Well, and especially because that division is so wide open.
Oh, it's the worst it's worse than football.
Yep. Yeah. Well, they got DJ Shark at running or at receiver.
Oh, yeah, DJ Shark. Yeah. Adam
Chuba Hubbard from Oklahoma State.
That's the other guy I was thinking of. Did Gallo just go yard? Dude, Gallo just absolutely annihilated the ball.
Nice. And they just signed your guy. Played for the Eagle, Miles Sanders.
Oh yeah, they did sign Sanders. That's right. Not that I think he's good, but
I know. So they've got some nice pieces. They're going to draft more. I would expect them to probably go a more offensive-heavy draft, too, if they're going to go and draft Bryce Young. Depending, they could draft his running back, too, depending on if he falls. I don't know. I don't think he will. But number 2, Texans are on the clock. I'm going to go with – they're going to go with another Bryce Young's teammate. I have him taking Will Anderson. I think this is the safest pick of the draft. He's going to every down player. D'Amico Ryans is a defensive guy. He's going to want to get a centerpiece to lead his defense. And with a guy like Will Anderson, he's gonna burst onto the scene, and he will be the guy that'll be looked at as J.J. Watt.
Yeah, I'm just praying he's off the board before 6. I have Will Anderson going to the Texans too. If he's at, I have Will Anderson going to. There's been so much chatter the last day and a half of just the Texans don't want a QB. They're just basically going best player available, which I get. I mean, Davis Mills wasn't terrible. He was serviceable.
No.
Put some people around him and he'll be fine. I mean, you still have 13. You can go get your wide receiver 12. You can go get your wide receiver there. So you have options there. But yeah, if Will Anderson, I just hope he doesn't go to the Lions. That would him and freaking not Bosa. Jesus, how am I forgetting Michigan's DN's name? Hutchinson. Can you imagine those two together?
Yeah. Well,
no.
Yeah. Well, the other part too is I think. I had a thought, but now it escaped me. But I think D'Amico's going to want to. He's going to want a guy like he had in San Francisco, like a Nick Bosa. He's going to get that with Will Anderson.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's going to want. Oh, this is what I had. He's going to D'Amico being the defensive coordinator. He's going to really buy into, I think, the complementary aspect of the game where he's going to want the defense to win it. They're going to play conservative football. They're going to run the ball. They're not going to beat themselves. And I think with Will Anderson, they're able to do that and build off a solid average defense in many would say a wide open AFC South. We talked about the Panthers being the worst division, or the NFC South being the worst division in the NFL. The AFC South ain't that far off.
Nope.
But we'll go down to number 3, the Valley of the Sun, the Cardinals, and Jonathan Gannon, his first year as head coach. I think they're gonna also the D coordinator for the Eagles. I think they're gonna stay defensive. I think they're gonna go and get the edge out of Texas Tech, Tyree Wilson. He's a defensive coach. Athletic freak. Didn't get to compete in the combine. Many people are saying he's the best. Some experts are saying, experts in quotes, best defensive player in the draft. But this is also a spot too with the Cardinals. I think they could trade down here too, depending on the quarterback situation or who wants to trade up and go get a quarterback or whatever. But I think if it stays and we're not doing any trades, I think Tyree Wilson is the pick for the Cardinals.
Pretty sure you have my mock draft. I didn't even really know who Tyree Wilson was before yesterday, but Matt Miller sold me on him. I hate the guy, Grant. I will fight him with you. I swear to God, anytime you want to do it, I'll go. But yeah, he's an athletic freak. This edge class, if they all come out like big, solid players, they could be the best damn class ever.
Yeah. Well, and we're only going to refer to player defensive ends this podcast as edges just to piss Grant off. Okay, so yep, just to get under Grant's skin, because that's he made the choice not to record with us. He'd rather be in Mexico with his family.
It's pretty selfish of him.
Yep. And go down to 4, and this is where we might be off here. I have the Colts. I have them taking Anthony Richardson. I know right now the betting odds are saying that Will Levis is the favorite to be the number 2 pick. I think it's a smokescreen. I've heard that the Colts are in love with Anthony Richardson. Biggest concern if they draft him, I think the talent with Anthony Richardson is there. It's just I don't think he's played enough football yet, and the development for him is going to be crucial. It wouldn't kill him to sit a year and learn and develop and learn how to be a professional quarterback. but the Colts are going to Colts, so they're probably going to be picking another quarterback in the next 3 years.
I went quarterback too. I went different though. I went C.J. Stroud. I know.
Oh, he found his way to Indy.
He did. He got his way to Indy. So I don't know what the hell is all this talk of him falling. Who no one's gonna take him. I don't know where the hell that came from in the last couple of days. The shit these people come up with and find in their past is like the dumbest thing ever. I just think it's obvious they're taking a quarterback. Which one? Who the fuck knows? But I'm just gonna go with Stroud. I think he's the best one left. Maybe not highest upside, but I think he's probably the best pro-ready one that's on the board.
You know what? Well, you know what the issue with these scouts and experts of where they come up with things is there's just so much time. If they shorten it up to like the NBA where it's like 2 weeks after the finals is over, you're not going to have that stuff, or like the combine going on during the season, during the playoffs. But, you know, the NFL making it a 365-day-a-year business, you know, why not stretch it out, give it for things people talk about, dig up. Mm-hmm. Oh, this guy called this girl a mean name in 4th grade.
Yeah.
You know, we can't draft them.
There's been players that actually say they interview elementary teachers. It's like the dumbest thing ever. Like, what the fuck? He's 6 years old. Leave him the fuck alone.
I would hope people grow up by then, but sometimes they don't.
You never know.
Guilty as charged.
He shit his pants in 12th grade. You know, he just couldn't do it.
Well, I know people that are almost 30 that do that.
Exactly.
So
it is what it
is. But going down, keep it moving here. Going to number 5, the Seahawks are on the clock, and this is just a Pete Carroll pick here. One of the best players in the draft, had a few, showed up to his pro day out of shape, had some other off-field issues, but Pete Carroll is not going to be fazed by that. He knows, he's confident in the culture that they have in Seattle, that he's going to be okay, and he's going to thrive up there in the Pacific Northwest. I have Seattle taking Jalen Carter, the D tackle out of Georgia. Off-field concerns aside, but I think once he gets into that building and he has some adults around him, I think Jalen Carter is going to thrive there, and they might get the best player in the draft. If somehow, and he's already said didn't take visits outside of the top 10, I would love if he fell to Dallas, but that just ain't going to happen unless something else comes up in the next 3 days.
Yeah, I have him taking Jalen Carter too. Let's be real. He may have been part of like a crash that killed his friend and another person, but at the same time, Carroll he ran USC. He coached USC. He's covered up probably well worse than whatever the hell just happened there. So he doesn't care about character issues. Let's be real. Let's just call a spade a spade. He's going to go and get a good football player. Yeah, he's fine. You know, it is what it is. He's going to go get a good football player, and that's what Jalen Carter is, whether he showed up in shitty condition for his – he very well might have done that just so he could fall to the Seahawks. You know, you never know.
Yeah, and Seattle, they're just going to continue even with Geno and just prove that they are going to win this Russell Wilson trade, because that is Denver's pick.
Yep.
That they're getting, and it's at this point essentially a luxury pick to get.
100%.
You trade your franchise quarterback thinking you're going to be in the late teens, mid 20s, and then you get the number 5 overall pick. Yeah, win-win. Yep, and go over to the Motor City where the Lions are on the clock now, and you know they just got rid of a corner. They just traded Jeff Okudah, who was a bust. Traded him down to Atlanta. So I think they're going, and they've signed a couple of free agents to kind of shore up that secondary, but they're still needing one. And I have them taking Devin Weatherspoon, the corner out of Illinois. When you watch him play, the guy plays hard. He's not afraid to go in and do the dirty work. He's an exceptional tackler. And Dan Campbell in his introductory press conference talked about, we want guys that are going to take on the culture and the identity of this city. When I think of Detroit, I think of a guy like Devin Weatherspoon. I think he's going to fit well in Detroit.
I haven't taken a cornerback too. I was flirting between Witherspoon and Christian Gonzalez out of Oregon. I went with Witherspoon. Just the Big Ten guy kind of went. I feel like he fits that team. I totally spaced on his coach's name, but he wants hard-nosed players that are going to get it dirty. They're going to make the plays, and that's really what Witherspoon is. He's physical, probably the most physical cornerback in the draft. And honestly, the Lions don't have a whole lot of holes left, and I don't think they need to waste a pick on a quarterback here. I think that'd be stupid.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think you go with Goff. He's been really good.
It wasn't the offense that was the problem. Just load up on defense in this draft. Maybe get a wide receiver, but that'd be about it.
Yeah, and even because they pick at 18 too, that could be a spot because there's a couple of good receivers in this draft. This isn't a super deep receiver draft.
That's a range for Jordan Addison, Quentin Johnson. Like that's a good range for those guys. But 6 is even for like say Jackson Smith and Jigba. Like that's still too high.
Yeah. Well, and realistically, it's really only a stretch if he doesn't work out.
Yep.
Because if the Lions take a receiver at 5 and he turns out to go on to have a Hall of Fame career and be the next Calvin Johnson, it wasn't a stretch. That was a good pick. They knew what they were doing. Something that you can't say a lot about the Lions.
Yep.
And then moving on to number 7, go to Vegas, where the Raiders, I have them taking Christian Gonzalez here. Their defense has been abysmal. I thought they could maybe go offensive line here as well, but I have him taking a corner. And he's the corner that most scouts have as the top corner in the draft. He's 6'2", 6'3", rangy defender. I think he would fit well in Vegas to kind of help shore up their defense in a division where you have to face Pat Mahomes, Russell Wilson, Justin Herbert twice a year.
I really want.
They already have 2 good edge guys in Chandler Jones and Max Crosby.
Yeah, I almost actually still went with edge, but I decided not to. I went QB. I think Josh McDaniels might want to. He's signed. I know they signed Garoppolo, but I feel like he's a guy that wants his own guy. Start from the very bottom, work his way up, develop him. So I went with Anthony Richardson. I went high upside.
Wow. Why
the hell not? I mean, I think it'd be a cool fit. I think he'd look pretty good with that Raiders helmet on.
Yeah. Well, and I think with a guy like Jimmy G, I think he's been in that type of situation before. Mm-hmm. I don't know if he looks at playing in Vegas as a long-term thing, but I think he would be a good mentor and because it was how many years did he sign?
3 maybe.
Okay.
Because I know I vividly remember us talking about, does he actually want to sign with a team that's still looking for a quarterback, or is he the guy? And how much money they gave him, maybe he is the guy because they did give him a good chunk of cash.
And he's played in the McDaniel system before, and he's never lost with with Josh McDaniels as a coach. So
it's true. Maybe
they can rekindle that magic. And in a league where there's usually 6 to 10 different playoff teams a year, I could see. I think the Raiders have a nice enough roster where they can sneak in as a wild card.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we'll go down to number 8, the Falcons, the ATL, and this defense has been abysmal. This roster is not great. They don't have a quarterback. Could see them possibly taking a quarterback. I think they might want to kind of roll with Desmond Ridder for another year. But so I have them staying in the state of Georgia. I have them taking the edge, Nolan Smith, not the point guard from Duke, but the edge from Georgia. He was a captain for the Dogs. Tremendous player. He plays his tail off. The effort was never a question there. And a local guy. They've already signed Bud Dupree and Calais Campbell. I think with him, that's going to really create havoc in the AFC South is with a guy like Smith.
I think the only way the Falcons take a QB is if maybe like a CJ Stroud falls to him. I don't see them wasting the draft capital to move up for one. I don't see the point of that. You're rebuilding. What the hell is the point of doing that? But I'm right with you, Nolan Smith. You said Will Anderson's the best player in the draft. Nolan Smith might have the highest upside. Like, his combine workout was insane. The shit he did was just stupid. And if, honestly, he wasn't hurt, I mean, let's be real. Georgia beat the living shit out of TCU without him.
Yeah.
Like, they beat the living hell out of him without possibly their best player. So, I don't know what that tells you more about Georgia, Nolan Smith, or TCU, but either way, like, he's a damn good football player.
Yeah, for sure. And go down to let's go over to up to the Windy City. The Chicago Bears are on the clock, and I have them staying in within the Illinois, the state of Illinois, and I have them taking the tackle out of Northwestern, Peter Skoronsky. I think they are all in on Justin Fields this year, and it's going to be important to protect him. He's a versatile. They could start him out at guard. We'll see what they do, but I think protecting Justin Fields is the number one priority there. And they got a receiver in the draft, or they traded for in DJ Moore. I think they add another piece on a very below average offensive line with Skoronsky.
I thought about it. I thought they might take the homegrown kid from Northwestern, but I actually went to the state over to the west, and I gave them not. I know who you're thinking. You're probably thinking Lucas Van Ness. I actually went Will McDonald. I've seen him in a couple mocks. High upside guy. Opposite of gosh dang it! Now I just had his name in my head. Who's their other edge guy? Who's older
for
the Bears? Quinn, Robert Quinn.
Quinn, yeah, yep.
Yeah. They could be a really good duo together for the next couple of years. So that's what I went with. Probably a pretty low floor, but super high ceiling.
Yep. And then we'll go over to the Eagles. And I think if this guy, if the Bears do not draft Skoronsky, I think this guy is in play for the Eagles because Lane Johnson is getting up there in age. They're going to be looking to replace him. I think you could start Skoronsky at guard, and then once Johnson, they cut him or he retires or is a free agent, they can move him. They already have the replacement at right tackle. The Eagles do not seem to miss on drafting offensive linemen, which is infuriating. But this is also a luxury pick that the Eagles have coming off losing in the Super Bowl. And I hate doing this, but with arguably the best roster in the NFL, this is a luxury pick. They can kind of take the best player on their board here and not really go need because they don't have a lot of needs. I have them taking Bijan Robinson. Like we said, Miles Sanders is playing for the Panthers now. They're going to need a second running back, especially in the type of offense they run. Help Hurts out, get him that next step in the passing game. He's tremendous out of the backfield, catching the ball out of the backfield as well. He did not miss a lot of time at Texas, so he's healthy. He could be a bell cow running back as well. So I have the Eagles torturing the Cowboys again and taking Bijan Robinson. You
nailed it on the head. This is such a luxury pick. Like I don't even think it's really that close. I really, they have the best roster in the NFL. It's stupid, but I don't know. Like I feel like they're going to trade it. Like I feel like they're kind of stupid if they don't. But if they love Bijan Robinson, I mean that's where I've been picking too. Why the hell not? Like the dude's probably maybe the best running back since Adrian Peterson to come out, and that's really saying something, but the dude has some stupid raw talent. Yeah. Well, and maybe if Sarkisian listens and actually ran him against TCU, they might have had a different season. Yeah. Yep. But we'll go down to the Music City, Tennessee on the clock here, and they've got a lot of holes. This is a possibility where I could see them going quarterback. I think because Malik Willis is afraid to throw the ball. Tannehill can't stay healthy, and he's kind of ceilinged out. They also have some issues on the O-line. Taylor Lewan, their longtime left tackle, is they cut with him to free up cap space. I think Mike Vrabel goes and gets a former Buckeye. I think he goes and drafts a Buckeye. I think he goes and gets the tackle out of Ohio State, Paris Johnson. Nice. I actually, I think these teams needs to blow it up. They fired their GM. Just reboot it at this point. One, either trade back or go. I'm going to say take a quarterback. Just take Will Levis, replace your tall white Tannehill with another tall white guy that's more athletic, just bigger built. I'm not a big Will Levis guy, but he has some good. He did really well at Kentucky, and no one does well at Kentucky at quarterback. Yeah. So I'll give him some major props on that one.
So, all right. And then let's stay in the AFC South, pick number 12. Texans are back on the clock. And now we talked about D'Amico Ryans shoring up, getting his leader of the defense for the next 10 to 15 years. I think this is where they go, and they get the quarterback that they want. CJ Stroud falls to him. He's been sitting in the green room waiting. And this is where D'Amico goes and gets his quarterback. Anybody that's watched any games knows he was the second best quarterback in college football last year. 0-2 against Michigan, still doesn't know how to get to Indianapolis. But I'll call a spade the spade. He was a tremendous leader. Seems like an all-around just a great kid. And I think CJ Stroud is going to be the guy for the Texans to lead.
I think this is another spot where if one of these QBs is still there, you could see someone trade up, like, say, the Vikings. That's been something that's super hot today. I don't know if you saw all those just tweets and stuff just saying how much work the Vikings have done the last couple of weeks. But I think that obviously we're not doing any picks, but I think they get Jackson Smith-Njigba. They got the top edge guy. Now they get the top wide receiver. They kind of sit back on the quarterback for a little bit, but just build up around them until they actually get their guy.
Okay, yeah. And now, so we get 2 Ohio State guys back to back for me, and then Ohio State guy for Ethan and the receiver. Now correct me if I'm wrong here. The Packers are picking because they swapped first round picks with the Rodgers trade.
Correct.
Okay, so the Packers are picking at 13 now.
I didn't change that, but I'm just flip their picks. I don't care.
Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of what I did too. And, Aaron Rodgers was there for 16 years. They never took a skill position player in the first round. I have the Packers taking Jackson Smith-Njigba. Best receiver in the draft. Guy just knows how to get open. He's going to be leading the NFL in catches, as Joel Klatt has said, within the next 5 years at some point. And this is a spite pick for the Packers. Is they're going to draft. They're going JSN just to get back at him. That we're going to take a skill guy now that you're gone.
I love the pettiness, and I went there to an extent. I went with a tight end, the Utah Dalton Kincaid.
Okay,
I'm not going to lie. I don't know much about him. I know a lot about Matthew Mayer, but this guy seems to be the pretty consensus number one tight end now. So we're going to go – Packers are going to get that, and we'll see if Jordan Love likes throwing more to the tight end than actual Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, yeah. And then go down to pick number 14. The Patriots are on the clock, and I have them taking the safety out of Alabama, Brian Branch. He is in a division where they're going to be facing Diggs, now Aaron Rodgers with that trade being official. Garrett Wilson, was the rookie of the year this year. Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, also in that division. It is crucial for them to not get beat deep. I think this is where they shore up that back end of the secondary and take Branch. I could also see him going with an offensive lineman, but I went with Branch here.
I totally forgot the Patriots had Wise to go with Judon because I projected him Lucas Van Ness, but I'm just going to go with the Iowa thing. Brian Ferentz, Iowa, or Patriots staff, they're all really close, Belichick and Ferentz, so they're going to go with the Iowa kid, just bolster that D-line even more.
Okay, all righty. And now the Jets, Jets, we're going to figure out who is going to be Aaron Rodgers' newest teammate. And I have them taking, they've actually had some pretty solid. They've had some pretty solid draft drafts the last couple of years. It looks like missed on a couple of offensive linemen, but I think they shore that up here. I think they go out and they get Broderick James, the tackle out of Georgia. I think they continue to build that offensive line. I think they give the Rodgers some protection and create some running lanes for a guy like a Breece Hall coming off an injury. So the Jets kind of follow suit with the Packers draft, but in the end, they actually kind of help Rodgers out more than the Packers have in the last few years in the draft.
If the Jets just got Aaron Rodgers, now they get someone to protect him. They're going to get Peter Skoronski. Hell of a pick at 15 if it would happen. I think that's probably the best value pick in the draft. I know some people are projecting him guard. I think he'd probably be a tackle for the Jets. But hell of a pick at 15 if it could happen. Especially
with a guy like a Mekhi Becton who's played like 3 games in his NFL career.
His life.
But so we got the Jets going offensive line, going with the Hoggies here and going down to 16. We're about after this one. We're over halfway through because the Dolphins were tampering and
that was because of the concussion thing, right? That's why they got it taken away.
Yeah, it was like tampering or something. It was something to do with the tampering. It was with the Brady stuff.
Oh,
Brady and Sean Payton stuff. Okay, yeah. Okay. And I have the Commanders taking a little bit of an NFL legend. I have him taking the Joey Porter Jr., the corner out of Penn State. A little bit handsy, but he's not afraid to go in and do the dirty work. His dad is a former linebacker. He's not going to be afraid to tackle. And I think the Commanders got to shore up that back end. They've got some really good defensive line, and I think a good corner is going to just make that defense even stronger.
He's on my short list for Vikings picks, but I don't think he'll be there at 23. For the Commanders, so I go corner 2, but I go Christian Gonzalez out of Oregon. Arguably could be, like you already mentioned, top on a lot of boards, top cornerback overall. So, I mean, another really good value pick at 16 here. So the Commanders might do something good for once. Yeah. Now that Dan Snyder's not the owner.
Yeah. Well, not officially yet, but
it's
trending. That's something though to kind of monitor too, though, because like we'll see what they how much say Schneider still has, because the sale hasn't been official yet.
No.
So he's still involved, so we'll see what he wants to do.
I would totally tell him to
I would not put it past Dan Snyder to spite them and just do completely something off the wall just to give them the double middle finger.
Oh, fuck yeah, he would.
And we'll go over to pick 17, the Steelers. And, Mike Tomlin, Kenny Pickett in his second year. I think this is a possibility where they could go offensive line. But I have them going on the opposite side. TJ Watt's had a lot of issues with injuries over the past few years. I have him taking a guy that won't even have to change his colors from college. I have him taking Luke Van Ness, the edge, Grant, out of Iowa.
Iowa City to the Steel City. Look at that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There we go. And I have him going opposite of TJ Watt, because when TJ Watt is a difference maker when he is on the field. He was the reason why they somehow salvaged the season when he came back. I think with the injury history of TJ Watt, I think they draft a guy like a Luke Van Ness where he's going to be able to learn. He's going to get coached. He's going to be a sponge off of TJ Watt and learn his work habits, his work ethic. And I think this is a perfect pick for the Steelers to take Van Ness and shore up that defense.
I like it. I'm going other side of the line. I'm going Paris Johnson Jr. Gets Pickett some protection. Paris Johnson, just a beast of a man, absolutely fucking huge. And he should do just fine. I don't know if he'll be a left tackle or right tackle in the NFL, but dude's a beast.
Left tackle, right tackle, who gives a shit? He can help the Steelers.
Yes.
And the Steelers, they've got the running back, they've got good receivers. I think to truly get back to them being the Steelers that we grew up with, they have to shore up that offensive line.
Yep.
And that's a great pick for the Steelers if they're able to get him, Ethan. And then so the Lions are back on the clock here. We went from the capital city to the Steel City, back to the Motor City. And I have the Lions taking Kalijah Cansey now for the D tackle from Pitt. Now, the GM for the Lions, he spent a lot of time around Aaron Donald working in the Rams front office before he went up to Detroit. Obviously, a lot of pressure going to being compared to Aaron Donald, but when you're a defensive tackle from Pitt, that's going to come. Pressure is a privilege. And to play in Detroit, you have to embrace that pressure and take it head on, and that work ethic, that biting kneecaps off. And he's going to be another side, someone that you put next to Aiden Hutchinson, and they're going to be tearing it up making it a living hell for guys like a Cousins, a Fields, and a now Jordan Love.
I actually haven't taken the same guy. It sounds like he's shorter, a little bit on the smaller side, but so is Aaron Donald. That worked out pretty fucking well for the Rams. But if they get these two guys, Witherspoon and Cansey, like this D is like damn good really quick. And I've always said I'm not like a Lions like fan, but if there's ever a team like when the Vikings were going to move, when they were talking about possibly moving to LA, I always said if there's another team I had to root for, I always said it'd be the Lions. I don't hate the Lions, believe it or not. I actually kind of like them.
I don't know if I know anybody that hates the Lions. Like I like them. How can you? They're the lovable losers. They have been forever.
I don't mind them. Like I actually like I said, if there's a second team I had to pick, I'd pick the Lions.
And a guy like a Dan Campbell, he's hard to root against, and they're not a threat until they start if they go on a run where they win like 8 straight NFC North crowns, then people are going to start to hate them. But you know what? It's been a long time coming for the Lions.
No, but they're a threat. Let's be real. They should be the favorite going into the season.
Yes, I would 1,000% agree with you there. And then we'll go down to the I don't know I don't think there's a nickname for Tampa Bay that ends in city. So we're just going to go to Tampa Bay. So we went from Capital City, Steel City, Motor City to Ybor City.
Hey.
Now so I don't know if you've ever heard of Ybor City, but that's kind of the big nightlife area.
I don't know
that's the big nightlife area down in Tampa.
I figured
Cody
it had
and
something to do with that.
Yeah, very, very fun place. I've been there. We went when Cody and I went to the Vikings Bucks game in 2020. That's where we hung out for the night, and it was a great time, tremendous time. I want to go back at some point, but I have them taking the Bucks. They've got a lot of holes. Baker Mayfield's the quarterback. He does not do very well under pressure. I have him taking Darnell Wright. I think with Donovan Smith moving on, Tristan Wirfs goes over to the left, plays the left tackle, and I think Darnell Wright, they shore up that other bookend and move him to right tackle to give Baker some protection.
Before I do.
Oh. You just disappeared.
Look how cute he looks. He's just all curled up on his pillow.
Oh, Boone.
He's a tired boy. He had a long day.
Hey, buddy. Look at him. Tired boy. But, Ethan, we're losing him here.
I don't know
you're back?
We're back. We're fine. We are fine.
Uh-oh. Okay.
All right, we're fine. So we are going to go on defense. We are going to go Miles Murphy edge because they don't have a lot of edge depth. Shaq Barrett doesn't seem to stay healthy ever. Who's the Grant or something Nelson from Iowa? I remember, but he's good like backup, but he's not a great starter.
Yeah. Is it Quentin Nelson? No.
I can't remember. Anthony.
Yeah. Yep. He was opposite of AJ Epinesa.
Yes, correct. Good college guy, not a great NFL guy. Just a good serviceable like third down guy type thing.
And and let's go over to the to Seattle, the Pacific Northwest. And I have them, their second pick. This is their original pick. I could see them going a lot of different ways here. I think quarterback is in play. I could see them maybe going with a tight end in what they need. But I have them going with a guy, Pete Carroll. He's committed to running the ball. And this might be a bit of a homer pick here. I don't care. The best road grader in this draft, I'm going to go with Cody Mock, offensive lineman for NDSU. He is a versatile lineman where he can play all 5 spots. I think they're going to shore up that offensive line, help protect Geno, and open up holes for Kenneth Walker.
I like it. I don't mind the homerism. It's a mock draft. Have fun with it. But
I see what you did there. It's a mock draft. It's a Cody Mock draft.
I'm mocking you. Yeah, exactly. But you mentioned tight end. I'm going Michael Mayer. I think at 20 is a steal for this kid. He's a beast. I don't know what the hell ever happened to Noah Fant. The dude looked like the real thing coming out of college for Iowa, but then something hasn't clicked.
He played for the Broncos. He played for the Broncos and didn't have a quarterback.
He did decent for the Seahawks, but even then, he was still iffy. Go get Michael Mayer. The dude's a beast. Go eat.
A security blanket for a guy like Geno too, where he can really take that next step where when they're going deep with Lockett, when Lockett and Metcalf are running those deep routes, he's going to have someone where he can dump it off to consistently, even pairing him up with a Noah Fant where they can go a double tight set and, kind of use them in the middle of the field in those short to intermediate routes. I think that's a great pick. And then go down to the Los Angeles. The Chargers are on the clock. I have them going with taking a tight end at this pick. This is my first tight end I have coming off the board. And I think there's an argument you could see some tight ends fall because this is a deep tight end draft. But I have him taking Dalton Kincaid, the tight end out of Utah. Give Herbert a weapon on those short intermediate routes, especially with Eckler not, and obviously they don't play the same position, but a dump off guy that's going to get a lot of catches, I think is going to be huge for that, is so key for that Chargers offense, is getting a guy like a tight end, which they haven't had since Antonio Gates has left.
I like that pick a lot. I went to help the QB too, but I went Jordan Addison, wide receiver. Let's be real. Mike Williams and Allen, neither one are ever going to stay healthy. Why not go get a guy that could be a number one, has a high upside, can really make a difference for that team when those guys are hurt for half the season? And
he doesn't even have to leave. No, he can go just across the yard from where he was playing football. Call his college ball, and let's go over to the land of the crab cakes. The Ravens on the clock here, and there's a lot of questions. Lamar has demanded a trade. I think with the OBJ signing, I think that's calmed a little bit. I think in the end, Lamar returns to the back to the Ravens, and I have the Ravens helping him out here. I have him taking Quentin Johnson, the wide receiver out of TCU, who still lives in my nightmares. Give Lamar a big target who can go up and get the ball, another guy that they can pair with Mark Andrews across the middle, OBJ, Rashad Bateman if he's able to stay healthy, and then that backfield as well. I think this is where they go. I could also see him go offensive line because Ronnie Stanley can never seem to stay healthy either.
I actually have him going defense, but I have him going cornerback, Joey Porter Jr. Like you said, he's handsy, but he's physical as fuck. Literally what the Ravens really want with their cornerbacks, and that's always been that way.
And with Marcus Peters probably is a cap casualty as well, so that's an open spot for them too. And now let's go to the Twin Cities where Ethan is, and the Vikings are on the clock here. Now, I bounced around a lot with this. I could see him going corner. I think the consensus right now is they probably could see them trading down. I did see a mock draft where they traded all the way up to 2 and took C.J. Stroud, but I think that might be a bit of a long shot there. I have them going with a wide receiver here. I bounced around. I went between receiver and quarterback. And I don't know if you listened to our podcast we did with Ross last week, but he talked about, the quarterback. I'm curious to see what your opinion is on it, but with Cousins being in his last year of the contract, drafting a quarterback, letting him learn, and then having him take whoever they draft take the reins next year, that's not the worst thing. Realistically, the NFL probably needs to get back to more of that, where guys are learning, not playing right away, not get thrown to the wolves. But in the end, I went with a guy that I think the Viking that can help the Vikings win right away. I have him taking Jordan Addison, the receiver out of USC. They need a guy to replace Thielen. This is the man right here in Addison.
I would love taking a corner here, but after talking to someone today at work, they are absolutely enamored with Hendon Hooker, and I think they will do anything they can to get him. I think you'll probably see them actually trade up. I don't think they're going to trade down. They'll get the top 20 is what I was told to get him, but I think you're probably going to be looking at that number 12 Texans pick is probably where they're going to be looking to go up to get him, is what I was told. So I'm going Hendon Hooker. I love it. I think there's a very big reason why they didn't extend Cousins. If they don't get a quarterback, say, this draft, I think then they may look at an extension at that point. But I think number 1 pick this year they're looking for is to try and get Hooker.
Oh, okay. All righty. And there was another quarterback who was picked number 12 in a draft that ended up being okay. And I think the biggest concern with Hooker is obviously he had the ACL injury, but his age, he's 25 years old, but he's played a lot of football. He's mature. He's going to go in. He understands what he's getting himself into. He's going to go in. He's going to learn the playbook. He's going to work his tail off. Mm-hmm. And he's going to walk into a spot too where they're going to have a guy with like a Justin Jefferson, KJ Osborne, see if they extend Hawkinson. The running back room is a bit of a question, but
Cook's gone. He's
yeah.
Not gonna be there.
Yep. And so it's going to be interesting to see what the Vikings do. We want to hope for some fireworks because it's good for the podcast to discuss. So I do like that Hooker pick. I think
Thursday is going to be a pretty wild night. I really do.
Everybody loves a good Minneapolis Hooker.
Yes. He's going to be the best of them all.
Yep.
No free hot dogs, though.
No, well, boy, would that be some promotion. And let's go down to.
Can we take a second and just thank Sonny Gray for how good a pitcher he is?
He's good?
He
okay,
has
well.
0.64 ERA after he just struck out Aaron Judge for the 3rd time tonight.
Nice. Good. I love it. And what's the score of that game?
Twins are up 4-0 after Gallo's absolute freaking moonshot.
We took
Warnick's home run that was like halfway up the bleachers last year
when we went to the game. Yeah,
versus the Yankees.
Gallo's
went further.
Oh my God! Love it.
Shit bomb,
everybody was very down on Gallo when they signed him. And I'm like,
he's like MVP form Gallo right now.
Yeah, exactly.
He's a beast.
And I'm like, I think he just needed a fresh start. I think New York, they
ruined him.
New York scene just got to him, and he needed
that right field does terrors for right-handed hitters.
Yep. Because even like when he played for the Dodgers, he was a solid. He was solid. He wasn't bad. I mean, you couldn't have been much worse than what he was in New York. But I mean, he was consistent for the Dodgers
Mm-hmm. And he's not even
And
striking
then
out much this year. That's the biggest thing.
also good.
Yeah.
And let's go back to the draft here, and we're going down to Florida in Jacksonville. I have them coming off a really nice year where they won the South. Right now, you probably have to have them as the favorite to repeat with Trevor Lawrence at the helm. But I have him going on the defensive side of the ball here. I have him going taking Miles Murphy, the edge out of Clemson, pair him opposite of Travon Walker to terrorize, especially in the AFC where you're going to be facing some of the best quarterbacks, whether it be Burrow, Mahomes, Russell Wilson. I think you can't completely discount him. Josh Allen, Herbert. I think this is you can never have enough edge rushers, and I think the Jaguars just continue to build that depth.
Obviously, we're getting towards the end here, so not a lot of these teams have a lot of holes. But this is one team that legitimately does not have many holes. I went cornerback here, Deonte Banks, Mississippi State. If you want to go beat the Bengals, you want to go beat the Chiefs, you gotta have corners that can hold up against when Mahomes or Burrow get out of the pocket and they run. This guy can do that. He went toe to toe versus the best of them in the SEC, and yeah, it's a good pick.
Yep. And so we both have the Jags going defense here. Let's go up to New York City here, where the G-men are coming off a divisional round playoff appearance and looking to build off Brian Daboll's first year as head coach. I have them. They just re-signed Daniel Jones to a long extension. I think they go and they get him some receiver help, and I have him taking Zay Flowers, the receiver out of Boston College. They're what they're getting here is something that they never got out of Kenny Golladay production. That guy, he played on a terrible team, but he was out there every day. He's a great downfield blocker too, which Saquon is known to break a run or two. He's going to be able to block downfield. He's not afraid to get his body get dirty and throw his weight around. I think he just seems like a good culture fit for the Giants.
You kind of had your homer pick already, so now I get mine. We're going John Michael Schmitz. I think he's by far the best center in this draft.
Yep,
the Giants
would agree.
Maybe don't need a center, but when you can upgrade a position where you kind of are set everywhere else, why the hell not? I definitely can see the wide receiver though. Who is their number one? They don't even. Let's be real. They don't have a one. They have a bunch of threes.
Yeah, well, they did. They traded him to the Chiefs.
True. This is true. But so they very well could go wide receiver here. There is a lot of good ones on the board still. But I'm going center. I'm going John Michael Schmitz. If you're really going to pay Saquon the money that he wants, you're going to need a good O-line to do it.
Yeah, well, and then they just got Darren Waller.
True.
From the and Paris Campbell is there. Jamison Crowder.
Okay, so they got some guys.
He's old though.
Yeah, not a one or anything.
And I still don't think I don't think you have. I don't know if Zay Flowers is a one either, but I think he could work his way into a solid number two. Isaiah Hodgins out of Oregon State. Yeah, Colin Johnson.
He made the Vikings look like losers, but a lot of wide receivers made the Vikings look like a loser in the back half of the year.
Yeah. Khalil Pimpleton, Wan'Dale Robinson, Sterling Shepard,
what a name.
Darius Slayton, Davis Sills, Jeff Smith. Not the forward for the Nuggets. But what happened? What do we see?
2 outs, runner on second. Polanco hit I wouldn't say it was like a bleeder or anything, or just like a doink, but it was a higher pop fly down the left field line, and the left fielder overran it, slipped, and missed the ball. Run scored, 5-0 Twins in the bottom of the 6th.
Nice, good. Good.
Yeah,
So
what are
my
both their
prediction that
teams
they were
supposed
going to get outscored 25-3 in the against the Yankees is not holding up.
The fact we
So
played our worst two series versus like two of the worst teams in the league is just totally Twins, and it's
yeah,
never going to change.
no. But back to the draft. Now the Dallas Cowboys are up, and I could see them going a lot of ways here. I think with the addition of Brandon Cooks, I don't think they're going to be taking a receiver in the first round. I also don't see them taking a cornerback after they went out and got Stephon Gilmore. I have them going, and their O line has been solid. It hasn't been great from what it was towards the end of Romo's run and then Dak's rookie year. And something that I think they've been missing since this guy retired, they drafted Travis Frederick about 10 years ago, and he was the leader, the unquestioned leader, the captain of the offensive line. I have them going to get your guy, Ethan. I have them taking John Michael Schmitz to shore up that offensive line.
I don't hate it.
And they need to, especially with they could if Bijan Robinson is still there at 26, which there's no way he is. I could see that. I think I would smack the shit out of Jerry if they don't take him. But I think they go trenches. I think they've had success drafting offensive linemen. Look at Tyler Smith last year. He looked incredible. I think they continue to build that strong running game and get a captain on the offensive line in Schmitz. I could also see him going defensive tackle. I would love to see a guy like a Jalen Carter fall, but that's just not going to happen. I have to be realistic here. I wouldn't. Brian Breeze is also a guy that I kind of have on a wish list of sorts to pick to D tackle to shore up that run defense, which they've been missing. But John Michael Schmitz, the Gopher, going to be a Cowboy.
I went interior O-line too. I know you're getting a little older there. A lot of high-priced guys in there, so maybe you move one out of there. But I went Osiris Torrance, guard out of Florida.
Yep, Florida.
Just a mauler. I mean, just a road grader. So, I mean, if they want to start running the ball a little more, maybe a little bit more explosive, I think he'd be a good start.
Yeah, well, and Mike McCarthy calling plays now. He's talked about it where he said that, I don't want to put up 40 points a game. I want to win the game, and we do it with our defense and playing complementary football and controlling the game. And how do you do that? You do that by running the ball. And Grant says it best here with Dak, less is more. Rely on that run game, complementary football.
Speed Pollard, and the dude's ready. Like, it's very obvious.
Yep. And let's go up to Buffalo, where the Bills are picking, and I have them something that they've been missing for a long time. They refuse to address it. I have them going here and taking the running back out of Alabama, the second running back in the first round. I think late here, I have them taking Jahmyr Gibbs. He's that missing piece of the offense. He's going to be able to take pressure off of Allen's leg where he's not taking so many hits early on in the year. And when Josh Allen, it looks like the last few years towards the end of the season, especially this year, where by the end of that Cincinnati game, he looked tired. His body was worn down from all the hits he's taken. They go out, they get a guy like a Jahmyr Gibbs who can take the pounding, take the hits. He's young. He'll be able to. He's explosive. They can utilize him catching the ball out of the backfield as well. I think this is a no-brainer for the Bills.
I think it's a no-brainer for my pick too, but I'm going another offensive position. I'm going wide receiver. I know they've been tied to Nuke a lot. I think that's stupid. Diggs in Hopkins, money tied up. Like, that's literally almost probably over a quarter of your salary cap just right there. I think that's just stupid. Go get Quentin Johnston. I think he's very similar to Nuke. Big, lengthy guy. Can bust it when needed, but I just don't see the point in going to trade for Nuke. If you want a receiver, there's going to be a couple down here at this point in the draft that are going to be obviously a lot cheaper and very high upside.
Yeah, for sure. Could also see him going defense, getting some cornerback help.
Yep.
But I think they go offense here. They haven't had a lot of success going defensive players because I think they took a defensive guy last year and I don't think it really panned out.
What's his nuts? There's Edmonds. He signed with the Bears, right?
Yep.
Yeah, he's gone. So,
and
they could look at linebacker, but there's no one to take right now.
No, that I'm trying to think of the guy that I saw. I saw him on a couple of mocks going to Dallas. I can't think of the guy's name or where he's from.
Wasn't Jack?
Nope.
Okay.
No,
That's
I can't.
The only guy I would consider just because he's an absolute dog. Like, I don't care
what
he's drafted. The dude's a beast.
Yeah, and let's go down to Cincinnati, where the Bengals are on the clock, and also a really solid roster. They had a lot of issues on the offensive line last year. They addressed that, and they got even more improved with the signing of Orlando Brown from the Chiefs. But I still think this offense is missing a piece. I think they're missing a tight end, and they get a gift in the lap. They take Michael Mayer, the tight end out of Notre Dame. He gives Burrow.
Wouldn't even be fair.
It wouldn't be. No.
Oh my God.
And the other part about him as well is Michael Mayer is a ruthless blocker too. He'll contribute in the run game. He's someone short and intermediate that they can get with Higgins and Chase going over the top. This is a gift, and the Bengals are going to go walk to their third straight AFC North crown.
I mean, if he's available at 28, the Bengals better literally just fucking sprint. Like, break a sweat, get the fuck up to the podium. But I'm going like basically the same kind of criteria I went with the Jaguars. Go get someone that can help you stop Mahomes. That's literally the only thing stopping you from winning the Super Bowl, essentially. No one in the NFC is going to win the Super Bowl this year. No offense to the Vikings, the Cowboys, the Niners. It's the Chiefs or the Bengals at this point. Like, let's just call it what it is. Emmanuel Forbes, cornerback, is what I picked for him.
From where's he out of?
Maryland, I believe. No, he's a Mississippi State guy. Deontay Banks is the Maryland guy.
Deontay Banks is Maryland. That's right. Yeah,
that was my bad. But no, Emmanuel Forbes, Mississippi State.
Okay, all right, and let's go to the Saints down to the French Quarter. Saints on the clock here. We got. After this, we only got 2 picks left here in the draft, which actually we're doing all right. We did the draft in about 50 minutes because we spent about the first 20 or so minutes for probably about a half hour talking about Mexico and the Wolves, the Wild, all different sorts of things. Yep, Boone. And I have the Saints taking a corner, a guy that you thought was at Mississippi State but actually went to Maryland. It is Deontay Banks. 4'3", he's a burner, can play on the opposite side of Marshawn Lattimore, can also play him in the slot as well. I think Dennis Allen, the defensive coach he is, I think they stay on the defensive side of the ball and go with Banks.
They got their quarterback. Why not go get them some more help opposite of Olave? I know they have Mike Thomas coming back, whatever. I don't know if he's going to be good or not. Zay Flowers. Olave, Michael Thomas on the outside, Zay Flowers on the inside. Like, you're looking – that's a pretty formidable top 3 wide receivers if Mike Thomas can stay healthy.
Yep, Slant King. Well, let's be real. He won't stay healthy.
He won't stay healthy. So they have a good top 2. Like, let's go with that.
Yep. Which it's not bad to have 2 good receivers. I think that's I think if Olave takes that next step, I think it's going to just open up more for Zay Flowers.
Yep.
Too. And let's go up to the city of brotherly love, where the Eagles, they took Bijan Robinson at 10. Ethan and I both had him taking it. This is also where best roster in the NFL. I don't think it's that close, like Ethan said either. Also where they can kind of go luxury, they can kind of go where they can build depth, especially when you have that roster. You're afforded that where you don't really have to draft off need. I have them going and building depth up front because that's where you win because I don't think you can ever have enough trench depth. I think the Eagles go with Will McDonald IV, the edge at Iowa State. And just the Eagles do not miss on draft picks. They hit it out of the park every time, and that's why they've been playing in the Super Bowl. And I think that trend continues.
This pick actually pisses me off because it fell so well to them, and it's really the only position that I think may be like an iffy spot for them. But Deion Branch, the Alabama safety, that's a big position for them as safety.
Brian Branch.
Is it Brian? I thought it was Deion.
Yeah, because that's who I have the Patriots taking.
Okay, as I said, I knew you had him higher than what I did. Yeah, it is Brian Branch. I don't know why I did Deion, but yeah, I think it'd be stupid. I'd be pissed that it happened, but even then, the board always falls in favor of the Eagles. So why the fuck not?
Yeah, and to round out the first round, the host city is on the clock here. The defending champion, Kansas City Chiefs. I have them taking also a team that's a very well-constructed roster. I could see him going receiver here, possibly quarterback. Mahomes is you kind of see him on the downfall. They're happy with their running backs. I think they'll admit that they made the mistake drafting Edwards-Helaire, especially with Pacheco. Probably re-sign McKinnon. The receiver route also could see him going offensive line as a position in need, but they also got to replace Frank Clark. And I think they take that and they get a local guy out of Kansas State, the edge, Felix and DK Uzama.
Northwestern, yeah.
Kansas State.
Oh, Kansas State. Okay, I knew Northwestern had some fucked up name too.
He also has a messed up name too. I can't think of that either, but they're going to draft his replacement. The rich get richer, especially in a division itself when you've got to face Russell Wilson, Justin Herbert, and now Jimmy Garoppolo. You have to consistently be coming in guys' faces all game. And they have that with Chris Jones. They got to re-sign him as well. They got the guy out of Purdue last year that had a good rookie year. To pair with him, get younger on the defensive line. I think they do that here with Uzama.
I went the other side of the line. I think this is just way too good of a value pick not to take, but Broderick Jones. It's just they every year it seems like they have someone fall in their laps, and it just so happened again. So what else is new?
Broderick Jones. Where? Georgia, the tackle.
Yeah, you had him. You had him going way early.
Yep. I had him going to the Jets. So, but yeah. So that's our first round. We're definitely gonna make teams smarter if they listen to us. If they follow us, they're guaranteed to at least have an above 500 record. But so what are you? You talked about you had the Vikings taking Hooker with their first pick. Who else do you have on the wish list of players you want the Vikings to draft?
I think Joey Porter Jr. is up there. Definitely a more physical guy. Can do one-on-one coverage like Brian Flores wants. Really needs in his system, honestly. John Michael Schmitz, I know you re-signed. I can't think it was the center's name. I can't think of it right now. But I think you gotta see if you got a chance to make the team better. You gotta look at it. He's better than what's our center's name? How am I forgetting this? I keep forgetting names.
It's not Elfline.
Not Elfline. I even met the guy at the Morgan Wallen concert.
Not Dakota Dozier.
I cannot think of his goddamn name.
Vikings starting center. Let's see here.
This is embarrassing.
Ooh. Bradbury.
Bradbury, that's it. I was gonna say Ellsbury. But if you have a chance, you
Schnozberry.
go with you go get JMS. The dude's a beast. Otherwise, if all those guys are gone, go get Jordan Addison. Get a receiver, maybe Zay Flowers, because Jordan Addison's probably Justin Jefferson-esque in that sense. But go get Zay Flowers. He's a little bit different, a little bit of spice, or a little different spice than JJ.
Yeah. For me, a tight end, a Michael Mayer or Dalton Kincaid. Wouldn't mind like a guy like Noah Gindorf will be an NDSU guy to kind of keep an eye on. Luke Schoonmaker. There's plenty of tight ends, but I think a guy like a Michael Mayer who really fits into what Dallas wants to do offensively, who will be asked to block. It sounds like Kincaid is more of a kind of a Y tight end where he's going to be lined up as in the receiver position more than asking him to block.
Fit Packers offense pretty well.
Yeah, Cowboys, you mean?
Or Packers, because that's right.
Yeah. Well, I hope they trade everybody and the Packers have, they've been fortunate to have like a 30-year run of two Hall of Fame quarterbacks. It would be kind of nice for them to go on a run of like 30 years of not making the playoffs.
I hope Jordan Love is the second coming of Christian Ponder. Like, just fucking sucks.
Oh boy, would that be something?
Oh, I would love it.
I talked about Brian Breezy. That's a guy that I would definitely like. I think both the teams in the Super Bowl this year really have the kind of set the mold of what you need to make a deep run, and it's depth in the trenches, a solid offensive line, and continuously getting ways to get pressure on the quarterback and stopping the run. So I would, get another edge guy late, whether it be a McDonald or a Uzama or really whoever at this point. There's a few others out there, but or like a Sam Laporta or a Luke Musgrave or Tucker Kraft.
You could probably add the edge to the Vikings needs, especially if Daniil doesn't show or doesn't. If you don't think you can get a long-term deal with Daniil soon.
Yeah, well,
the goal
is and like I said, I think the edge should be on a need for every team because you can never have enough of them.
Absolutely.
BJ Ojulari, that's another one to keep an eye on too. I would not turn him down. Or a guy like in the middle is Mozzie Smith out of Michigan.
Okay.
Guy that was a tremendous run stopper. And one of the reasons why Aiden Hutchinson went number 2 in the draft, or Mike Morris had the season that he had, is Mike Morris just eating up blocks. So we got that, and yeah, I don't know. I'm excited to see. We'll be recapping it next week. Grant should be back, but I don't know. I don't think I have anything else. Ethan, do you?
No, I mean,
no.
5-0. Life's good at the moment, so no, I think we're good for now.
Yeah, let's hopefully some good vibes only for the Twins. And let's wrap the show up, and you kick it over to you for curveball of the week.
Well, we're hoping spring continues here. Let's be real. It was 80
last week. I agree. Golf course, they're saying May 1, hopefully. So hopefully that golf courses
here are open again. They closed for a
little bit. Open now?
They're open. They've been open, yeah. They
wow.
were open when it was 80 degrees. There was a couple, or at least one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the one across the street was. But you own a house, like you've done yard work. What's your favorite yard work thing to do?
Ooh, I would say mowing the lawn.
Yeah.
That was when I still lived with my parents, and I was a teenager. That was my job. And I was something that I always made sure we looked good. I had a whole rotation of when I was I had a whole rotation of, this we ended up probably mowing it twice a week in the summer because of, sprinkler and keeping it nice. But so like it goes straight, and then horizontal, and then diagonal one way, diagonal the other way. Had the best looking lawn in the neighborhood. So
awesome.
I definitely mowing lawn, and that's a project that I have with my house coming up. Is I think that's going to be something, is trying to get my lawn looking nice and good this year.
We might need to bring Dana on. He obviously runs the Fargo Parks and Rec stuff, so he'll know a lot about mowing the lawn. So you might want to ask him about some tips. Like, the dude knows.
I might have to.
We might have to have him on here.
I'm gonna have to have like a $200 water bill, because it's just right now it's just dirt and weeds.
Yeah, I get that. Till it up and just replant it. Fuck it. But I have to agree.
That's basically what I'm gonna have to do.
Yeah, I'm with you mowing. I've always loved it. Living in apartments sucks because, well, you don't get to mow. But if I'm at home, I almost try to make time to mow in the summer for my dad, just because I love it that much.
Okay, yeah. And so this is the first time I've really been able to mow, because where I was living before, when I was living with Cody, that was his baby. So I never got to do much mowing. But gonna at some point get back into it here. And so we both mowing, we're both keeping it original. We agreed pretty much for the most part. Like,
a lot of
yeah, I was impressed. So, we just need that.
Let's be real.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what's going to happen is, and for some of it, I hope it is. I hope Howie Roseman just completely brain farts and completely botches the draft, and the Eagles fall apart. Same thing like with the Giants. Dare I say it, depending on how this ownership group goes with the Commanders, the Washington's not even going to be a shoe-in easy win anymore.
No.
The East is getting better, and the Giants, they have a competent head coach. So, we got some tough battles, and you know what? Our fearless leader, Mike McCarthy, is going to lead him to the promised land.
There you go. Positive thoughts. KOC is going to get his quarterback, and he's going to go fuck shit up in the NFC North.
Who is?
KOC.
He lost his Twitter?
No. He's going to go fuck shit up and get his quarterback.
Oh, gotcha. Oh, I don't know where I got that from then.
I don't know. I
Jeez,
tried
but could be. But alrighty, well, that puts a bow on episode 75 of the Three Guys Talking Ball podcast. Check us out on all of our social medias. We'll be posting other content there as well. We'll be posting these segments of the show on Friday, so you can go recap and laugh at us for how bad our predictions are. We'll be posting on our Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, 3GTB podcast on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. And then follow us on Facebook as well. But that wraps up this week's episode. Thank you guys for listening, and we'll talk to you next week.